Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now May 7th of 2023, and with a lot of things currently in development such as upcoming Star Wars films, shows, and let's not forget about other projects in the mix by John, George, Dave, Tony Gilroy, and other creators also coming on board over at Lucasfilm. To really course correct the franchise and really bring it back to the way it used to be is going to be an ever-evolving challenge on their end of things, and it all begins with Star Wars Ahsoka, because this is going to be the very first project that had zero influence by Kathleen Kennedy, and it's 100% written by Dave Filoni himself. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, getting into exactly what's been going on here between Jon Favreau and everything related to Mando Season 3 and what happened there, and Kathleen Kennedy getting in the way and interrupting with the creative process of all of that. We've covered this several times, that she was involved in the script and the pre-production phase, but not during principal photography. So, to put things simply, Kennedy was involved during the scripting phase, but not during the filming phase, and that's basically what happened with Mando Season 3. But things get more complicated with, of course, everything related to Jon Favreau, and what he was able to actually say about the whole Temuera Morrison situation, as well as a lot of material that was completely just shredded from Jon Favreau by the hands of Kathleen Kennedy. So let's elaborate on that and tap right into this. Now, of course, on top of this, given that Disney is beginning to focus on Star Wars movies mainly again to bring the franchise back to theaters, creators Favreau and Filoni are also very dedicated to their Star Wars movie. However, recently in an interview that Favreau gave when discussing his plans for Season 3, Favreau went on to state the following to fans: "When I was writing Season 3, I really wanted to expand elements of Boba Fett's return into the script towards the end. I was all ready to give Temuera the call as I wrote a whole scene for him in the final episode on Mandalore. But I got the call from Kathy, and it was a last-minute thing that she didn't want Temuera back in this one and perhaps other projects too. Coming out of the fan criticism of the Boba Fett series, Kathy felt it was a smart move to not bring back Boba Fett and Temuera playing that role, period. So I did what I felt I needed to do. I figured I asked Kathy, what if we could give Temuera another role for the Order 66 flashbacks as one of the clone troopers? I thought that was going to be my golden way of bringing Temuera Morrison back, but I remember clear as day, we ran into these creative differences and she just did not want Temuera back this season at all." Now, again, Favreau is making it very much apparent that Kathleen Kennedy was really the one mainly responsible for Temuera Morrison not getting that call, getting snubbed by Disney, and just completely cast to the wayside. And we know how Temuera Morrison acted publicly a couple of days ago, more like a week ago, where he literally called out Disney. He literally said how basically his show, The Book of Boba Fett, was ruined when Din Djarin came into the picture and stole an entire episode or two from his series. And look, I mean, I get that, I understand that, I totally get it. Look, I mean, Temuera Morrison really was very passionate about the Book of Boba Fett series, and it just didn't turn out to be what fans expected. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, that was another project that she interrupted and intervened in the creative process. Now look, thankfully the flip side to the coin here that's really, positive is that Kennedy is no longer involved on a creative level with anything Star Wars except for Acolyte and Skeleton Crew as of right now. Where we stand, Ahsoka is in good terms, Mando Season 4 is looking great, and everything that goes beyond that is all in favor of John and Dave and what they want to do, as well as Tony Gilroy. So, this is very revealing. It just goes to show you that Jon Favreau was not the one to blame, nor was it Dave Filoni, for snubbing Temuera Morrison and really just ignoring the guy and flat out just writing out his character that was already pre-planned by Favreau, mind you. They had an entire scene for the final episode on Mandalore, and we talked about that deleted scene, by the way, where Jon Favreau talked about how Boba Fett was supposed to come in with Slave One, take out some of those troopers, and help, with the fight by Din and Bo-Katan's side. It was going to be something great with, of course, Fennec Shan. All these different scenes that just did not end up happening in the final cut. So, I never understood why you wouldn't want to give Tamora at least another shot to really kind of just redeem himself as Boba Fett, the way that they should have done. But anyways, moving on. Alright, this is where it gets a little bit more complex, is that he says it had something to do with the Book of Boba Fett reception, and she wanted to give this character and Morrison a long break to space things out for a while from the criticism that we got for that show. I felt horrible because I was told to just cut communication with him for a while to not give him any false hopes of his return, and it was something that really was gut-wrenching to deal with. But this is the industry, and we always have to deal with these decisions coming from the up and up, and sadly I didn't get a say in that call. I really wanted him back, and Tamora really, and wanted to actually come back, and he really wanted to return. He would call me every week for an update, and I just could not communicate. Again, this is typical Kathleen Kennedy, typical Lucasfilm, poor ethics and poor ways of dealing with things. I think that it would have been better right from the get-go for Kathleen Kennedy to say, or even Kathleen Kennedy to allow Jon Favreau to communicate with Tamora Morrison about where things are going. The fact that they had a whole scene written for him in the beginning, only for it to get deleted, and Tamora was just waiting and waiting and waiting day after day about the call, and he never got it. And before he knew it, Mando Season 3 was finished. It was all wrapped. So it's an unfortunate turn of events that did happen. Tamora did come forward a couple of days ago, really called out Disney, really called out other aspects too about how his show was basically stolen by Din Djarin, and he made a couple of other remarks about Disney too in there. It was a whole thing. Alright, it was just a whole thing, and this is something that Jon Favreau, I'm sure, realizes why it's best to just focus away from Kathleen Kennedy. That's why they're dedicating so much time to the Ahsoka Tano series, and why this show is top-notch quality. So overall, guys, I am really just appalled at how they handled the whole Tamora Morrison situation and everything related to the Book of Boba Fett. How they really kept that on the quiet side about the fan reception being very poor, and the fan criticism, and a lot of fans walking away from that show. In the beginning, Kathleen Kennedy was just ignoring that and saying that there's no fan criticism, everybody loved the show, it was a smash hit. But it really wasn't. A lot of fans just flat out did not enjoy this. Some fans did, and that's perfectly okay and all. Believe me, that's fine. But the majority just were just not impressed. They were very either, just felt like it was very disappointing and underwhelming and just didn't really go anywhere, or other fans out there that had criticism about it just felt it was flat out awful. But anyways, guys, I would love to hear what each and every one of you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.